Um, Today was kind of a big third down emphasis relative to the practice. Any questions?
Seemed like the offense had a little more consistency today. Quarterbacks had a lot more time to throw the football.
Yeah, I thought early on we did a pretty good job, especially with some of the man coverages we were getting. And look, there's that that flow that we talk about that kind of moves back and forth. But overall, we'll look at the film. This is the second day we've had this install, and the first time we've had it where we're in pads, and so it was good to get back to getting a chance to rep some of the stuff that we didn't get to cover the first day we put it in.
Sean, Taysom's been a little lighter this year. Is that something you wanted, or how do you?
Look, he's pretty good with his weight, and if it's down, it might be down 5 pounds. What we do before summer is we go through every player's weight. In a staff meeting, we talk about what their weight was last year. Do we want to move it up or down? And we come up with their reporting weight, and then they sign off on it. We all, just so we're all on the same page. So periodically, there's some guys that need to keep their weight on, and then obviously guys that need to keep it off. So I don't. It might be down some, but I don't know that it's that significant, or it was something that we sat and, he's pretty comfortable. He knows he's been in it long enough to. A lot of them will cut weight a little bit in this first month, but yeah, I think he's probably in real good shape.
Sean, you guys have had an extended look at Ken Crawley over the years. What are some of the elements of him that make you guys continue to
Well, he can run. He's got good length. Back in 17, I think it was. He ended up starting in the second or third, fourth week of the season, and started that whole year for us. So he's got a lot of experience, but his athleticism, his speed, his range are some of his strengths.
Sean, can you talk about the value of having both Malcolm Jenkins and Patrick Robinson, play the same position, but they do have sort of similar stories getting?
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's pretty common, I think, in our league. Those are veteran players that at one time we drafted, first round for both of them, and there's a reason guys are able to play a long time in this league, and one of them is just intelligence. They understand who they are. They embrace that role, and I think both of them are familiar with the program, and conversely, we're familiar with them, and so you kind of know what you're getting, and it's an easier decision in free agency than someone you haven't really met or worked with before.
Sean, is it at all surprising that Chris Hogan's been able to pick things up so quick at this?
He's a quick study. That happens with some players. They just have real good football instincts. Aside from just picking up the offense, one of his strengths is he's a savvy player. He's smart. He understands leverage and is real good with his technique. So I've been encouraged with how he's come in here and made an early impression.
John, when Quan Alexander got hurt last year, did you think him being ready and available, like at this point in time, was unrealistic?
Well, look, it was Christmas Eve. I remember calling him, and it was after that night game, and he was just, kind of back at his condo, and at that point, there's a lot of frustration because it's not like a 3-week or 4-week injury. It's something that he knows is going to cost him the season. It's hard to project the recovery period, especially for an injury like that. And to his credit, he's obviously worked really hard to come back off of it. He's had some hurdles, and I think the one thing that is the one thing that you can tell from him is his love for the game, because a lot of players maybe at this stage with some of the injuries he's had, might have looked at it differently. But I'm encouraged with where he's at. I don't know that at that time, we put an immediate time frame. We just knew it was season ending, but you also knew the player and how he was going to respond, and so he's got a lot to do with being out here right now. After 7.5 months.
Sean, when you remove somebody like Drew, who's been here for so long, from the pass protection aspect, how much time you get?
Significant.
Yeah.
No, it's significant. Because what happens is, and I kid Drew a little bit, but you know, he's been in that kitchen long enough to pretty soon, you know, I don't know what year he started boiling the water, but someone else was, and then the next year so when all of a sudden he leaves, there's this immediate like, well, who's doing this and who's, you know, he handled so much, and you don't know, it didn't happen in 06, you know, it began, but during the course of 15 years, all of a sudden, you know, he's doing the dessert tray, and he's doing the frickin' appetite, you know, it just, and that's something that really he enjoyed, and so I think when that happens, you revisit your baseline, and everyone else, you know, begins to understand their role, and then you build on, you know, the player that's in there, but that is significant.
Sean, King Crawley's someone who just seems like he never says die, like on any opportunity, even if it doesn't work out for him. I mean,
yeah.
Something about his mentality.
Look, you know, he came in the hard way, and there's some grit and toughness to him. I would agree. So you know, you pull for guys like that.
Sean, as a special teams coach, has challenged someone because he was here so long, like Craig Robinson, that linebacker, to play that role.
All of those guys, yeah, all of those guys. Look, and you can get evidence of it right now, but you know, you really get a chance to see it in those preseason games, and there's a room full of guys. The good news is we've seen it from a number of them already. I like the athleticism in that group. A lot of those guys can run, and they should be good teams players. So we're excited about that.
Did you feel like you'd have a good handle on how the interior defensive line would shake out coming into camp, given the people that won't be here, or is that something that's really still
I think it's ongoing a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's ongoing a little bit. Obviously, with David's absence when we start the season, or what appears to be his absence, that's the significant one.
Sean, with having preseason games this year, like, does that change kind of how things are on your radar as opposed to last year, and even like some of the guys you have here, knowing that other teams are going to be able to scout against that way too?
Well, look, it's 3 instead of 4. We'll try to have a plan in each one of the games and an objective. There's, you know, that time frame at which the roster's cut down, and then you're able to put together your practice squad. I think it's one less game. How you play those games maybe relative to reps with starters and backups might vary around the league.
I guess I was getting more into looking at other players around the league and having an opportunity to see who else.
Well, you have one less exposure.
Yeah.
You have one less exposure. Sometimes you're going off a college grade. If you're looking at a rookie who was released from a team and you had decent grades on them, maybe you don't have as much exposure as you'd like in the preseason tape. But the assignment in the task of trying to scout those other games is still awfully important. And you know, we can point to a number of players. Taysom is one of them that we claimed off of the final cut. You know, when you get a player like that, you know, that comes in, I don't want to say free, but without, that's a good thing. All right, thank you.
Thanks.